Instagram. So right now I'm live on YouTube and Instagram. I have my phone. I'm trying to like position my phone and my webcam right next to each other, so I may actually pull them up a little bit closer to me. Please let me know. Hey, so we have Romel Marcellus, welcome, and also Tina Taylor, welcome. If you are joining me on YouTube, can you please let me know if you can hear me? I'm assuming you can because nobody has said they can't. But if y'all can just confirm you can hear me. I have 2 microphones going right now. I'm actually trying to do a microphone for Instagram too. So when some folks join me on Instagram, I'm also going to check with them and make sure that I can be heard. So I am going to wait a little while for some more people to join us. In the meantime, I just want to thank you all for joining me today. I know we are in some crazy times right now, you guys. It's really crazy. A lot of us are working from home right now. We have some downtime. So I thought it would be a great opportunity and a great time to go ahead and hop on live, and I have some lives planned out for each Monday for the rest of March, but I'll also be going live kind of just impromptu in between that time. So we can talk about some branding topics. We can talk about how to cultivate, the business that you love, the business that you desire in the meantime, because this is a time to think about the future. If you received my email, I said, and you guys, I'm just pulling up the questions over here. But one of the things I said is this time period is not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. I estimate probably 6 weeks at the most, this craziness. I think it'll die down soon. But it really is a reminder to kind of get our ish in order. And for me, it's definitely been a time for me to see kind of just some areas where I don't quite have all my stuff together in business, in my life, all of those things. So I'm definitely not going to forget this period and really take some time to use this downtime to kind of evaluate myself and get some things in order for myself, for sure. So 1 second, guys. I'm still pulling up questions. And you pronounced it right. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Romel. Awesome. I'm glad I pronounced it correctly. And yes, 1 second, gonna pull up questions. Why is that going there? Yeah, I think in this time period, it is not, if you building a business, especially online, this is a great time to do that. People are spending more time inside, and I'm definitely seeing like other entrepreneurs who have businesses online, or even if they don't, they're definitely starting to think about how can they bring over more of their material online. I know for me, I've been thinking a lot about what are some other types of business opportunities or kind of needs that we have in times like these that are not currently addressed. Like, where are the business opportunities here? That's a great way, especially if you're in a state of fear, or you're anxious, or you're concerned about the future. Really think about this time will be temporary, but there will be future times like this. There will be future, unfortunately, probably viral outbreaks. There'll be future environmental situations. And so what are some of the needs that we have as a society? Because as we can see from this situation, we're completely not prepared at all for this. So just downloaded the questions. I'm really excited. So everyone who registered today, I had them, I think that's not right. I had them share some questions about kind of what they wanted to talk about. And I really want to gear the conversation around the questions that were submitted, as well as any questions that you guys have. I am going to do my best to, so folks on Instagram have joined me. Can y'all let me know if you can hear me, please? Because I just want to make sure I can be heard. I think this microphone is on, you guys, but I'm actually not 100% positive that it's on. So I just want to make sure that I can be heard over there, so I don't have a mute Instagram live. Essentially, that would really suck if I did. And there's a couple of topics that I would love to talk about if we have some time after the questions. Our questions are slow. There's some things that I have been wanting to chat about as well. So possibly, if we have time, we'll get to that. And I want to pull up my YouTube, folks, again on my screen. So I have my laptop over here. So we have the Passionista, Khadijah's in the house. We also have Jasmine B. Welcome, welcome. Tina Taylor, I think I already shouted her out. Thanks so much for being on, you guys. So yeah, this is an excellent. Tina says, you're so right. Great way to get our heads and anxiety out of the craziness too and be productive. Very true. Like, stay focused. Do not be distracted. You know, really hunker down and use this time to get quiet with yourself and focus on what it is that you've kind of gotten away from. I think when things are almost going well, or things are in the flow of, routine of going to work and getting up in the morning and, just taking care of our kids, whatever it is that we have to do, a lot of times we forget about that dream idea or that product we were supposed to create or that project we were supposed to work on. And this is that time to kind of reconnect with those things. Pull back out your vision board if you made one. See what it is that you said you were going to accomplish this year, and start to put together a plan in this time to begin to execute that for the remainder of the year. It's almost a blessing that this kind of happened within the first quarter of the year, because that gives us a chance to not be 8 months into the year realizing, oh wait, I didn't do any of the things that I said I was going to do. So in some ways it's a blessing in that regard. But I realize a lot of times when I do these lives, I don't introduce myself. So some of you guys are new to me. Welcome, Deetra Dean. Some of you guys are new to me, so I want to introduce myself. I am Angel Mills. I'm a brand strategist. I have my own business, Angel Mills Brand Strategy, where I do freelance services, consulting, and business coaching for small business owners. So I work with everyone from, I have clients that are, 25, 30 years in the game. And then I have clients who are just starting out a business. And for me, I can especially connect with that. My business is still pretty new. I started it at the end of 2018. So I can definitely relate into kind of some of the beginning foundational elements that come along with building up a brand. And so I'm extremely passionate about talking about those things. And when I originally started my business in 2018, my intention was to just do freelance services. So I said, I was working full time at the time, and I said, okay, after work, I'll just pick up a few extra clients and I'll do some branding work with them. And so I began to realize as I was working with my first couple of clients that, and they were novice business owners, I realized, hey, there's an educational piece that is kind of needed before you're ready to kind of outsource marketing and branding work. And I found myself kind of in some frustration with these clients because they didn't really know what they wanted. They didn't really know how they wanted their brand presented. It was like they always wanted to kind of change something. I don't think a lot of them really had a good grasp on how to understand social media in relation to branding a business. So it was hard for them also to find their own identity in a world where there's so many different types of brands and things that capture people's attention so quickly. It was difficult. And so I was inspired to kind of start with some educational workshops, which I started doing in Atlanta. And I did I did about 4 actually, but I did 3 that were free and open to the public. And I partnered with the Atlanta Public Library to do them. And we talked about various elements of building your brand foundation. And so I got excellent feedback from that. I began coaching some of those folks and kind of realized that this was a really essential piece of my business. I don't see a lot of, I follow a lot of digital strategists. I follow a lot of branders. I do not see a lot of people talking about that foundational element of how to, before you start posting on social media, before you start having a website, before you do anything, how do you think about kind of that brand foundation, that identity that you have that would drive all that you do? And something I often tell my clients is that a strong brand will protect you in times of switching products, in times of recession, in times of uncertainty, whatever changes you want to make, because change is inevitable and it will come. If you have a strong brand and people identify with you and they resonate with you, they're not going anywhere. And they will rely on you and they will look to you in times like these. And so I think it's so important, right, in this space right now to have this conversation for sure. So I want to invite you all who are joining me on Instagram Live, who are joining me on YouTube Live, which I definitely encourage you to join me on YouTube Live, because Instagram does have a time limit on how long we're allowed to be on here. It's an hour for Instagram. I am going to try to wrap it up in an hour, but sometimes it goes a little bit over and then my Instagram ends. And then I'm still hanging out on YouTube, because YouTube, you can talk for a while. So, I definitely want to encourage you. Thank you. So some folks from Instagram said they're going to head over to YouTube. The link is in my bio for those on Instagram who want to head over. If you click on, it'll take you to my link in bio page, and then I'll have Go Live with Angel, and you click that, and then it's a series of clicks that will need to happen, but you'll come over here with us. So you said it was choppy. Okay, so I was told it was choppy on YouTube. So that's sad. Oh, you know what? It might be choppy on YouTube because of the internet that I'm connected to. So I'm actually going to switch my internet that I'm connected to. I hope it don't end this, you guys. So 1 second. So people on YouTube might have gone dead for a minute. Okay. So I actually on YouTube, I switched over to a different internet. I realized I was on the wrong internet. I was on I have Xfinity, so they had me on the Xfinity local, whatever it's called, the local hotspot, instead of my home internet. So I just switched over. So it might have been a little bit of a delay for folks who are on YouTube. Hopefully they didn't get too disconnected, and hopefully I'm back in clear. So thank you so much, Khadijah, for letting me know that I was choppy over there, because I wouldn't have even thought to check my internet. So I'm on my personal internet now. Should be stronger. I know from my phone I'm on the data, so should be good over there. And I'm assuming folks can hear me on Instagram, because no one has said they can't. So let's get started with some of these beautiful questions that you all have. And before I even get started in the questions, again, I want to invite you to ask questions in the comment section. I'll be bouncing back and forth between the comment section as well as some of the questions that were pre-submitted. I also want to talk about why I chose this topic. I chose this topic specifically for the live because one of the services that I offer is a brainstorm consultation call. So this service is really ideal for folks who kind of just want someone, a brander, a brand strategist, to bounce their ideas off of, get some additional insight on some social media strategy, digital strategy, how they should think about positioning themselves in the market, in the digital landscape. Those are some of the things we talked about. So if you actually registered for this event via Eventbrite, then you saw an option to actually book a consultation call with me at a discount. I've opened up my calendar for the next few weeks because I know people are going to be at home. I offered the discount as well because I want to get on the phone with people. I want to use this downtime while we're hanging out at home and probably getting a little cabin fever to spend some of that time hopping on the phone and really diving into your business, talking about how you want to position it. So I picked this topic because I talk to a lot of clients and they have, you talk to somebody and they're about to do something. They're like, well, I'm about to do this and I'm about to do that. But a lot of people feel like they can't actually start to brand or have their Instagram page or have their website ready if they don't have all their ducks in the row as far as the product or offering that they're going to bring to market. If they don't have that completely together and ready, then they don't want to do anything else. They're fearful of doing the social. They're fearful of doing any sort of communication about what it is. Now, I want to first say I get it, because there's a lot of people who say they're going to do something and they don't do it. And we all know people like that. And you don't want to build up the reputation that I say I'm going to do something, I'm about to do something, but I never do it. And so people just begin to lose faith in you. So I think a lot of people choose to wait for that reason because they want to come across as professional as possible. Totally get that. Totally with that. Totally support that. At the same time, if you know that you're going to do something, Part of that is maybe some lack of faith in yourself because you don't believe that you're going to do it. But if you know you're going to do it, it's best for you to start to promote that product, to start to build that community around what it is that you're trying to do ASAP. You don't want to wait until you have something ready that you're trying to sell and then try to build those relationships with people. You want to kind of build that community first and then sell them. So you want to add value for them, let them get to know you, let them get to understand your ideology around your brand and your product and your story, so that when your item, if you have a product or you're offering your service, is ready for public consumption, you have a group of folks who are ready and waiting to support you. Furthermore, it's a great way for you to get information from these potential customers to understand what it is that they desire. So a lot of times we underestimate, like we think we know what the public wants from us, but we underestimate that. And it's better to put forth some sort of iteration or some sort of information about it, get feedback about what it is that you're putting out, and then refine it over time. Like, understand whatever you're putting out, it's going to be a refining process over time. It's not going to be you put something out and that is the end all be all. Like, any product that we enjoy, that we love, has had iterations over time to improve it based upon customer feedback. So the sooner you can start to get that information, the sooner you can start to build those relationships, the better that it is. And in this Corona period, that's kind of what I'm calling it, or I've heard someone calling it Coronication, whatever you want to call it. In this period, this is a great time to start to work on those building blocks. It's an awesome time. So, someone has asked, I'm going to go to my first question. What is the best way to generate online presence and create authentic engagement? So, I think that's an excellent question. And it's a hard question to answer in a general sense because I don't know your brand. I don't know your brand. It really does depend on your brand and who it is you're trying to talk to. And I have a cup of tea here that I make. You might see me sipping, guys, because my throat sometimes gets a little dry when I'm talking to you. But it's a hard question to answer generally because I don't know your brand. And branding and marketing, there's no exact answers. Like, everything is so specific. That's why a lot of people don't trust it, because everything is so specific to your brand and your customer and how they interact with you. And there's no one size fits all. Something can work for someone else and not work for you. So the best way, the way that I would encourage you to think about how to address that question, that's a better way that I can answer that, is to think about not the product, not the offering. Think about who it is that you are trying to impact and what is the impact that you want to have on their lives. So for me, the impact that I want to have is I want people to understand their special gifts and to be able to connect with people who are like-minded and that desire to utilize their gift and support it through, monetary gain, or usually, most businesses are in the business of making money, but I want people to recognize and be able to share their unique gifts and to connect with like minds to do that. That's what I want to do. That's why I focus so much attention on the who of it all and the what of it all. So you want to think about, again, who are the people? And when I say who are the people, please don't say everybody. Don't ever say, I put a funny little Instagram post several weeks back about that. Who is your target audience? Oh, it could be anybody. If I ask you who is your target audience and you say everybody, you haven't thought deep enough. That's the wrong answer. It's always the wrong answer. Don't say that anymore. It's never everybody. Everybody is not your ideal audience. Everybody is not your target audience. Please don't say it anymore. I cannot stress that enough. You need specific information. And over time, the information will become more specific. Like when we talk about that knowledge loop that I mentioned before, as far as putting out some sort of iteration of a product or some pieces of content and getting feedback, you'll be able to get more specific demographical information and age information about who your customer is. But prior to you having that, you can definitely think about what are the people who are the people that you're aiming to target. What's their gender, where do they live? Like this may not be 100% right. Like you may target this particular customer and realize it's a completely different customer that is actually super engaged in what it is that you're doing. But you can have intention, like do nothing without intention, if you will. So if you have intention to target moms over 40 who have at least one child or something, those are, and you want to think about why you want to target those people. What are the elements that resonate with that particular, like what elements in you resonate with that particular population? And one thing I love in my coaching calls is understanding the background of why someone is choosing a particular business or why someone is choosing to have a particular product. How do they relate? Because most of the time you're starting a business, it's because you relate. Like there are people who can do businesses and they're not the target, but most of us have something that they relate or resonate with, and they're solving that problem not just for that target audience, but for themselves or for their moms or for their grandmothers or for people that they care about. So that's super important, your audience and your story. Now, once you understand your audience, where you ask yourself and you do some research as well, where do I find these people? Where do they make these types of decisions? Where do they have these types of conversations? So in my ebook that I have, which also that's on my website, if folks are interested, grow your contact list from 0 to 500 plus fast. That is on my website, angelmosbrainstrategy.com. If you go to store, I've had it on sale for a little bit at $12.47. So feel free to check that book out. But I use an anecdote in that book where I talk about a person who is starting a brand for plus size women. And I talk about how they built their audience before they actually have a physical product. Because it can take time, especially if you're doing a product-based business and you need to design the product, get the pieces, work with manufacturers. That can be an entire process. But there's no reason why you cannot still begin to grow your online presence and grow your customer base before you have it. And so some of the examples I use is that this person is hosting free events and growing their social media audience and growing their newsletter and contact list by producing content around the ideology of body positivity. So they have this, plus size brand that's forthcoming, right? But the way they're positioning the brand within their, the way they're positioning the clothing within their larger brand is that it's an addition. It's an add-on. But the real base is this community. So what they're actually selling people is the community. It's a community of women who are in support of body positivity and educating. And so some of the examples I use is that they're producing social media content that is promoting body positivity, posting images of women who are promoting body positivity, posting quotes and different types of ideology. In addition to the imagery around body positivity, they're doing educational posts, and those things get shared because people resonate with the ideology of it. And then a year from now, 6 months from now, when they have the clothing ready to sell and they've worked with their manufacturers and they have it ready, then they can tell their audience of 5,000 followers on Instagram, 500 email subscribers. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for supporting this community. We're coming out with a line of shirts, or this is our upcoming line. You can support it with what you wear, because people love, if you have noticed right now, graphic tees are super in style. So everybody's, wants to wear a shirt with some type of saying. They want to promote their political ideologies and things like that with some sort of saying on it. So people love to support things that resonate with their belief system. So you have them buy into it in a free, more low cost way through your content, through your newsletter, through your website, things like that. And then when you're ready, That's the audience that's ready and waiting, already connected with you, already trusts you, already likes you. So when the merchandise comes and it's time to spend, they're ready to spend. And everybody's not going to spend, but a good portion of that audience is going to spend. And that's your base. You see what I'm saying? So that's a classic example of how to build your audience before you have that item ready. Doing things like lives. If you have a brand and you're kind of the face of your brand, live is very effective. Like people, especially in times like this where we can't really, I do a lot of events and things like that. If we're not able to be in person and we have to, socially isolate, but we're able to be online, we are still able to connect online. It could be thousands of us right now on this live online, connecting, talking, communicating, coming together around a shared belief system, around a shared desire, around shared goals for our life. Like all of us are here on this live because we care about advancing ourselves. Each person, whether we know each other or not, there's something you resonated with about what it is that I came here to talk about that made you come here. And you have that in common with some of the folks that are on YouTube and the folks that are on Instagram. So those are the things that you want to think about. Think about that community at the center. The connection, what's connecting people. The product is just the addition. Do not brand around the product, right? Because the product could be anything. You might have started your community and you thought you were going to sell them plus size clothing or body positivity based clothing. And then you decide to sell something else to them. They don't know that because you started with building that community and you started with building it around the brand ideology first. So that's what keeps you unprotected and able to be around for a long time. It's connecting with this. Okay. So where are we on time? So we're at 7:30. Y'all, time is flying. It's almost 7:30. Oh my gosh. Okay. How to stand out from other sites. So this is from Jasmine Copeland. And our former question was from Sincerely Tasha. So Jasmine Copeland, and she said how to make your website stand out. That's an awesome question. I think websites and things like that are so fun. Like it's just anytime you have a chance to visually represent yourself and kind of like your ideology and your vibe, like you kind of think of when you're creating a website, even your Instagram, you're bringing people into your world. Like you're having them step out of where they are and what they usually do. And you're saying, come over here, come into this space. Right. And so I think the best way, I don't want you to think about your website in comparison to someone else's website. I want you to think about it in terms of how is it very unique. Like if I come on your site, how I just know it's your site. Like, or it has the vibe is so strong on the site that I just like get it. That's what you're looking for. That's what you want when you're thinking about colors and the imagery that you choose. You want to think about it like it's super unique. It's your stamp. It's your brand identity. And perhaps if this is something of interest to people, I have done workshops around how you identify like brand colors and fonts. And I've actually been expanding when I first started my business, I had like 3 colors that I used, but I've actually expanded my color palette and expanded my fonts that I'm using in my brand right now. And so I do actually have a workshop and have some information about how you can kind of make those choices and the tips and tricks that I do to make those choices and keep up with colors. One of them that I will share with you is following the Adobe Blog. So they have a blog that kind of talks all about design. Knowing a little, it's not like you have to know a whole lot about design, but knowing a little bit about design is super helpful when it comes to things like putting together a website or putting together content for your social media pages, using sites like Canva, For those who are not familiar, Canva is a free, user-friendly graphic design platform with loads and loads of templates, and a lot of people use those, especially brand owners, to create their Instagram content, create their social content, do things, create graphics that may go on their website and things like that. Super easy to use. It's about $12 a month. If you pay, which they're kind of making you have to pay if you want to get the most out of it. They also have a free version of it as well. So it's an amazing site for those who aren't familiar, but having a little bit of knowledge of design, following design a little bit is super, super helpful. So where was I? So if you follow the Adobe Blog, check them out. They actually put some of the hex codes, HEX codes for the different colors. They talk about kind of what the latest is in design. It is a really awesome platform. It's just really great. Definitely encourage people to check that out and kind of keep an eye on it. And that can be a great way if you kind of play around with some of the different colors that are kind of out there, what the trends are. That's something to look at to incorporate into your website. As far as website hosting, I use Squarespace. I definitely recommend using Squarespace. It's a great, super easy, user-friendly platform. You also can input a lot of unique colors and design strategies and things like that in it. So I enjoy using that platform a lot. I formerly used Wix as well. So I think that's pretty user-friendly also. I think it's also important to think about, can you create your site yourself, or do you have to, and you know what, 1 second, I actually just got a text message, you guys, that says some people cannot see my live. So I'm going to just restart it, because some people can't see my live on YouTube. I think people can see it on Instagram, but some people are having trouble seeing me on YouTube. So I may just have to take the video. That is on you guys, so sad. Some people are having trouble seeing it. I think I'm gonna just have to take the YouTube video, or excuse me, the Instagram video, and just pop it on YouTube for folks, since we're having technical difficulties. That's no fun. Oh, I just shut YouTube all the way off, you guys, because that was causing all kind of trouble. So I'm going to talk to you guys while I'm kind of trying to fix this a little bit and see if it would allow me to do it. But yeah, so I think what I was saying was, if you are putting together your website, you might need to ask yourself, is it something you can do on your own, or is it something that you need to have additional assistance with? Like if you want some more advanced types of features and options, you may need to get someone who codes. Some things require special code. If you kind of have something basic, if you don't have a product yet, I don't see why your website would be that complex. But some people find a way, y'all. We want, we kind of want our websites to do everything. But I think if you're just starting, you perhaps should be able to maybe use, you should ideally kind of be able to use your own skills to put it together. But some people just don't. Awesome. So IG is working well. So yeah, you might be able to use your own skills to put it together. Know yourself. Something I was watching on The Breakfast Club, and gosh, I forgot this one. I'm saying Beatrice, who is the CEO of the Honey Pot. She was in the news a couple of weeks ago because, Target a while ago had released some content where she was kind of talking about her inspiration. She's a Black female business owner, and part of her inspiration was and being a business owner was to make sure little Black girls saw Black women owning businesses. And a whole bunch of white women got mad about that and were putting negative reviews on her products. So a bunch of Black folks went over there, put positive reviews about her products out there online, and bought a bunch of products. So she had a really good couple of weeks with that situation. But one thing she said on the Breakfast Club is like, it's 2020. So if you're putting something out, your imagery does need to be high quality. Like, people have high expectations. People are accustomed to seeing good design, like edited photos. People know when your photos looking blurry and all of those kind of things. Kind of the days of being able to kind of just come out there and do whatever are over. So I will say this, if you don't have the eye for it, you might want to outsource it. And if you have some funds to be able to do that, it's probably worth the investment to be able to put something together. And you guys, if you're thinking about my mug, it's a Frida Kahlo mug I got from Ross. And the quote on it is, at the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. So that's kind of very timely, right? I didn't even think about me kind of choosing to grab that mug to put my tea in today. How appropriate that is right now. So I don't know what's happening with you. I think it's something wrong with YouTube, you guys. But anyway, I'm just not gonna worry about YouTube, and we're gonna focus on Instagram. It's me and you guys. So next question: what is the best way to gauge the content that clients want? It's a great question, and that question was from, what is her name? Shamika Ricketts. So Shamika Ricketts asks, what's the best way to gauge the content? I don't know, did I say gouge before? Why did I say that? What's the best way to gauge the content that clients want? So that's an awesome question. And part of it is you have to start putting something out so people can give you feedback. So that's a big part of that feedback loop that we've been talking about, that knowledge loop that you kind of need to be happening to be able to gauge that. But definitely on social media, I encourage everyone to make their page a business page. You can view your analytics. I know if you're kind of in the social media realm, then you may hear a lot of conversation like, how many likes someone has on their Instagram is a vanity metric. It's not that important. It doesn't give you that much information, and it really doesn't always give you that much information. So I can definitely agree with that idea that it is a vanity metric. You want to be looking at things like comments. That's super big. Like, comments is super big because that's the community building piece. That's how the conversation is happening. So you want to look at things like comments. You want to look at shares. You want to look at bookmarks. You want to see how many people are saving your post rather. You want to look at how many people are sharing your post. Are they sharing it to your story? If someone sees what you posted and they share it, that means it resonated with them. And when you're on social media, especially, people are scrolling. So it can be very difficult to capture someone's attention. So especially on Instagram. So knowing that people are engaging, are people following you, all of those things kind of give you that feedback of what's kind of working, what people are looking for, and what isn't working. And when you get that information, use it. Like, if you see people what I have found, and also what some of the industry news that I've read has found, is that a lot of text-based content can perform really well in regards to engagement. So post around quotes, if we think about content that we share, look at your own behavior about content that you share or you save, and why you saved it and why you shared it. And a lot of times it's content based. It's some sort of quote. It was some sort of meme or something that we thought was funny, or it just resonated with how we're feeling in this moment. And we just had a, ooh, Jesus, yes, let me share this or send it to a friend. We had a moment like that. And so that's definitely what you want to look at. How are people resonating with the content? Are they commenting? And understand that it takes time to get that information. Even if you're sending out emails, seeing how many people are opening the email, how many people are clicking the email, how people the more data you can get from your social, from your emails, from your website, making sure your website is linked up with Google Analytics so that you can see how people are engaging with your site. If you're able to get a heat map on your site, if you're familiar with that, that'll actually kind of show you what are the most common areas that people are clicking or engaging with you on your site. That's also very awesome information to understand kind of what's working and what's not. And it's a constant thing. Because something can work last week and it don't work this week. And it worked for her, but it don't work for you. It's never a consistent thing. You kind of have to be ready to constantly evolve and change what it is you're doing to adapt. And really about being successful on this digital platform is about being agile. That's a super big part of it. So I thought that was a great question. Like, how do you, I think it really is an issue with YouTube, y'all. Because why? And I wonder, I don't think they let you, maybe if I just stream now. I think I can just go, I may just go live, you guys, on hello, thank you for tuning. Sorry, I don't know why my video started playing. Okay. Because I feel bad for my YouTube people, you guys. So I really want to. Okay. Okay, I got a thumbnail. Now I'm going live. All right, so I am back live on YouTube, you guys. I'm trying again. We'll see what they do. Oh, what a mess. Anyway. Okay, so what are good places to create my e-commerce and how to set it up for DTG? So is this Robert Rice? That's another question that is definitely a specific to you and your brand and what it is you're trying to sell question. You know, a lot of people are up on Shopify now. I have a very small store that I keep on my personal site on Squarespace. So it's up to you. And I think it's also important to think about, is your site a primarily e-commerce site, or do you provide other types of content and things? Because if it's primarily e-commerce site, Shopify could be the right thing for you. However, if kind of your store is a small aspect of what you do, you might want to host it on a more text-friendly platform, like a Squarespace or a Wix, and just run your store through that. So it really depends on the level of commerce that you're trying to do, and kind of like, is your primary thing going to be the product that you sell? That's the short of it, like the important thing for you to really consider and think about. But you know, kind of to my earlier anecdote that I talked about, is if you are trying to build that community around that brand, you want to be able to have other places for them to maybe have conversations, to get information. You may want to have a blog. So, you know, you might want to have another type of platform that enables you to do that. Also, if you're building up that brand before you have your shop ready, you probably would either need to do 2 websites or do another type of website that people can go to prior. So that's also something to think about. Definitely am a fan of one-page sites. So I think it's great. Like, just be Googleable, please, you know. I think it's important to just be Googleable. You know, you don't want people to be looking you up and then they can't find out where you are. So you definitely want to be able to be findable online, essentially. So think about what works for you. Shopify could work later down the line when you have all your ducks in a row. Some other type of platform could work better for you until you reach that point. So my next question, we have about 15 more minutes on live. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with YouTube. If I'm just going to throw up the live or try to go like live a little bit longer with YouTube. I feel bad for the folks who are over there. Let's see. So Do you have any experience with growing a beauty brand? If so, what are some tips to make yourself stand out from the best besides packaging? Thanks so much for your time. And so this is Alexandria Hall that asked this question. I have worked with a beauty brand before, and some of my thoughts about that are, again, my earlier point. Do not build your brand around the products. Don't build your brand around the products. So she mentioned packaging and, how can you stand out from other brands besides packaging? If you are a small brand, you can never compete with a MAC or a Fenty Beauty or some big high, a brand that has a lot of money behind it and a lot of history and fame behind it. You will just never be on that playing field. Don't bother. Don't bother trying. What makes you unique and what will help you stand out is your story behind that brand. So you think about, oh my God, I'm going to mess up these ladies' names. The Lip Bar. Oh, I got it right. The Lip Bar, the young ladies in Detroit, they were on Shark Tank and they have their own lipstick business. A lot of Black women are probably their primary demographic that support them. They are competing. Part of the reason why they lost Shark Tank is because the investors looked at it like, you'll never be a MAC. People don't want to wear blue lipstick. You'll never compete with these big brands. So what's the point? There's already some brands who really have major space in this arena. And so what they fail to realize is that people connect with the stories that those women have. People connect with their stories. So people like the idea of these young Black women putting this brand together, being rejected from Shark Tank. The fact that that piece was able to be added to their story made them even more dynamic and made people want to connect with them. So when people are going to buy their lipstick, it's not because it's the best lipstick in the land. People are going to buy it because they connect with that story. And they connect with the ideology, especially if they're Black person, which that is their primary customer base. They want to support Black-owned brands. So that's what you really want to think about. What is your story that would make me want to connect, instead of getting my MAC or, my Fenty or whatever, my Estee Lauder? What's going to make me say, I can get those brands, but let me go over here and support this brand, because this brand, when I put this on my face, I connect with this brand, right? This brand is for me. This brand was made for me. So you want to think about your story. And when you think about your packaging, not just colors and what looks good and what may stand out on a shelf compared with other brands, but you want to be thinking about how can you incorporate your story into your packaging, into your site, into your website content? How do you indoctrinate someone into the ideology of your brand? So when I'm wearing the brand, there's a connection. I feel like I'm part of a club almost. You get what I'm saying? Like almost when people wear Fenty, people feel like they're part of a Fenty club. So you want to be thinking about how can you feel like you're a part of that club, you guys? Not just the superficial aspects of it, because on a superficial level, you'll never succeed. Just because there's these brands out here that have been around forever that take up major space. It's your story that's going to differentiate you each and every time. So you want to be thinking about how do you incorporate that into your packaging, into your brand. Is it, each time someone buys your item, you have a little card that has something related to your brand ideology on it. Those kind of little unique, subtle touches go a long way. And so that's where you want to be thinking about. Lean into your point of difference and your points of uniqueness. And that's hard to do because everything in society is telling us, be like everybody else. It worked for this person, so this is what you need to do. And in reality, what you actually need to be doing is looking for what makes you different and leaning very deeply into what makes you different. So you're retraining your brain to do that from a brain perspective to be successful. So it's hard, but it's something you want to constantly ask yourself. How am I different? What is special? And your story is always going to be what's part of what makes you special. No one has your exact story. So thank you for that question, Alexandria. And so I have about 10 minutes. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go I still have a few more questions on here. I think I'm going to go a little bit longer on YouTube. I am back on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube right now. My YouTube channel is She is Angel Mills. So what will happen is this live will end because I started this like right at 7. So the live on Instagram will end, and you can go ahead if you want to chat a little bit longer or you join me later. I'll be on YouTube at She is Angel Mills. Go ahead and join me over there, and I'm going to spend the next few minutes being over there for a little bit just to give those people some love. I may shoot out a text message to those folks and say, hey, I know live went down. I'm back. Come join me. Because I feel bad that I has like connectivity issues over there, you guys. So I think I'm back working over there. Let me double check because I don't want to say, yeah, come back over here and it's a mess. It's a mess over here still. And I'm actually going to turn up my light. There we go, y'all. Get it bright for you all. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to be over here for probably another 9 minutes. I try not to end my lives on Instagram right at 8 because they'll cut off on you. They'll cut off. I hate that. So for the folks on Instagram, if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the comments right now. I want to make sure I have a few minutes to address them. And then again, go ahead if you want to keep the conversation going. Join me on YouTube again as She is Angel Mills. I'm live right now. And I'm going to go ahead and try to go a little bit longer on YouTube since we had some issues over there. Alrighty. So while I'm waiting for those questions to come in on Instagram, I'm going to shoot a text. I will shoot a text. I love my text messaging platform. I don't even know if I should share them because I'm not an affiliate with them. I don't get any extra money by sharing them, but I use simple texting right now. I'm kind of trying out this platform. And so if you all join me, really if you're over here, you probably didn't get a text from me, but typically before I have a live, I'll shoot out a text to my text messaging audience just to let them know, hey guys, I'm over here. Come check me out, see what I'm doing. And it's super helpful, and I can shoot out the link as well. So that's always super helpful. And while I'm doing this, I'll go ahead and get another question in. What are the best ways to create content in advance so you stay ahead? That's an awesome question, and this is from Brittany Bowens. So what are the best ways to create content in advance and stay ahead? So Facebook actually, there's a number of sites, right? But Facebook actually has created, I guess they so late, but they finally decided to create a platform where you can schedule in advance for them. So it's called Facebook Creator Studio. If you have a business Facebook page and Instagram page, you're actually able to schedule content in advance there. So that's what I've been using as of late. I do like it. You can schedule content for Facebook and Instagram exclusively, and it's called Facebook Creator Studio. And you sign in just with your regular Facebook login. And of course, your Instagram page and your Facebook page should be linked together. And you can have multiple accounts on there. It's super user-friendly, easy to use. You can schedule content events there. There's also platforms like Later. I've used that. I know a lot of folks who use Planoly, Hootsuite. Those platforms let you use other sites besides just Facebook and Instagram, so that's helpful. So a lot of those sites will let you schedule on Pinterest. They'll let you schedule on Twitter. So depending on where you kind of hang out with your brand, that can be very helpful to use those types of sites. Planning in advance is always helpful. I personally don't plan super far in advance. I may plan a day or two, but I do know people who plan their content for the whole month. I like to be just kind of very on the pulse of what's going on. So I don't like to plan out super advanced. So you'll meet a variety of people business owners who plan out far in advance, and then business owners who are like, I don't really want to plan out in advance too much because I want to be very timely. Like, for example, you have the coronavirus going on. If I plan my content at the end of February, then I might want to have content that kind of directly relates to the coronavirus, but it's no way to anticipate that something like this is going to occur. And so you have kind of this content going that has absolutely nothing to do with timeliness of what's going on. And an example that comes to me is, when I was working at my full-time job, there was an organization that Paris was having the cathedral burned down in Paris. And what cathedral was that, girl? It's been so much news stuff lately. I feel like it's losing me, but gosh, I'm missing it right now. But the big famous cathedral in Paris burned down. And so, you know, this organization was having a screening for the movie Paris is Burning about voguing. They were having the screening about voguing for that film. That, you know, that film is on Netflix right now. So they were having a screening for that film, and they probably had scheduled the post in advance. And, you know, it ends up posting on the same day that they're having this huge fire in Paris. Like, it's in super poor taste to post something like that, and they probably hadn't even really thought about the fact that all their content was scheduled and that post was going to go out. So it's very easy to kind of like lose touch with it. I also think that it's important to respond to comments within a certain period of time, which I'm not always great about, but kind of like being present with the social, I think, is important to me personally. Not to say that I don't support scheduling in advance. I definitely support scheduling in advance, but I do think if you're going to schedule, still try to keep, you know, intimate knowledge with it, intimate interactivity with your social, interactivity with the people who may be commenting, messaging, DMing, whatever, so that you can maintain those relationships, because you don't have a product yet, right? You don't have an offering yet. You want to make sure that people feel connected to you. So that's why that is super important. And so where are we now? So we're at 7:55. Again, people are coming, they're going. Thank you so much for being on. I do want to give a little time to answer any questions that may have been submitted. I'm not seeing any. Poor connection. So this got paused due to poor connection. We don't have time for this poor connection right now, you guys. We don't have time for it. I don't know if that's a sign. What is going on with the internet? Because now I don't even have this connected to the internet. I have this connected to data. So now this is an issue too. That's a problem. It's a problem. Again, inviting folks to have questions. We got I'm going to just be on for probably about 2 more minutes. So I want to make sure I address those questions. Go ahead. If I don't get any, I'm going to wrap it up. Go ahead and join me on YouTube. If you're on my list, I'll be sending you a text message to join me over here for maybe another 15-20 minutes. And then what I think I'm going to try to do is extract this video, put it on my YouTube channel, put it whatever, like a part 2 from, you know, the current YouTube live that's going on. And we're going to try to get it together, and we're going to try to put out this knowledge for everybody. The internet might be sick. That's a good point. It might be sick, y'all. We're going to pray for the internet. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, you guys, so I can go ahead and continue on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. The topic was how to build a brand without a product. Don't let that hold you back, you guys. Still build your brand regardless. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you would like to book a consultation with me, click the link in my bio. I will have it there for you. I definitely want to have conversations with you guys about your business while we have this downtime. I love coaching. Like, that's my favorite thing. So, let's make sure we get some time on the calendar. So when you book with me, you will be able to both schedule your time with me. You'll also be able to pay for your consultation, of course. So you can do that in one-stop shop. And then I'll see you in a few minutes over here on YouTube if you would like to join. Again, my channel is She Is Angel Mills. Thank you so much for joining me. Instagram is already about to kick me off. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Have a good night.